It is the most wonderful time of the year if you are a football fan. This is the world's biggest sporting event. We had to cover it. This is Stoppage Time Football Club. Bron, Joe, Zach, Trav. We got a special guest with us for the first time. Hopefully, we have some more guests. We're going to put the Zoom link out there. We are covering the World Cup 2022. Fellas, just let's go around the horn really quick. Initial thoughts, and then we're going to hop right into these groups. We're going to break down the groups, the knockouts, predict who's going to win, and maybe we'll go down the memory lane, some of our favorite World Cup moments. But fellas, I am excited about this. How are y'all feeling?
It's a weird feeling for me because I'm super
Damn.
excited for all the action on the pitch. I'm super excited for some of the big matchups that we got coming up, but there's still kind of like that lingering annoyance that it's happening in November. It's happening in Qatar with all the craziness that led up to it, with
Yeah.
everything that we've talked about in the past, with the workers being mistreated and the corruptness of FIFA. So it's a weird feeling right now for me personally. Like I'm super excited for all the games, but there's a little bit of me that's still like not fully engaged, I guess maybe is the word, because of the controversy surrounding the whole event still. That's just me though. I don't know. Zach and Diego, you both were kind of nodding your head a little bit. So
I agree with
It's
you. Yeah. I think if anyone has had the opportunity to check out the documentary on Netflix and had a chance to see everything that has gone on behind the scenes, realizes that this wasn't the kind of party or the setup to the world's party, celebrating football across the globe. So, but like you said, and I totally agree that you have mixed emotions about it, but we're ready to go. It's still the World Cup. It's going to happen, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
yeah, I really couldn't agree more. It's bittersweet, I think, just because of all the chaos that surrounds it. Not only with the way it was awarded and everything going on with the workers and the slave labor and the deaths. Now you have this almost political game going on with the LGBTQ community and Qatar, and it's a mess, and that just highlights why why this was a terrible decision to begin with. But it is done. It's dusted. There's nothing we can do to change it. So we might as well just embrace it, enjoy the beautiful game, and um, get ready for some fantastic matches between some fantastic teams. I'm ready.
Man, I'm just I mean, of course I didn't see soccer and we didn't see World Cup, but this is like my first World Cup as in this wonderful group of Stoppage Time FC that I'm gonna actually keep up, see what's going on, know what's going on in certain instances. I got people that I can refer to get a clear understanding. This is my first, and I'm gonna make sure to grasp all the information that I can learn, because the more I learn, the better this game is going to be to me as far as the World Cup and just soccer in general. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn, and again, I want to see everybody else off in here. I want to hear everybody else. I want to hear all the inputs that I can so I can enjoy this wonderful game. This the most popular sporting event in the world. So I'm ready.
Mhm. First time you're invested. You know, you
Yes.
this is your first. It's like I think it's like the first time like I truly got into like March Madness. You know, I was invested. It's almost like a surreal, like you look at things differently and
Right.
you just appreciate everything that goes into it. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's. I think once you kind of know, and the thing I would tell people is you don't have to know everything about the game to just appreciate the event that it is. Now, obviously, Joe, Diego, and Zach have talked about some of the shady things that have gone on behind the scenes, but as an actual sporting event, this is like it is like March Madness in a way. It's over the course of a few weeks. Exactly, it's 4 weeks that it takes place, like March Madness. But it's a beautiful event. I just think we all have to kind of compartmentalize what happened to get this World Cup and enjoy the matches. So let's get to the groups. We are going to go back a little bit down memory lane, talk about kind of people's first experience with it. But let's get to it. So for the World Cup, for the newly initiated, it's 32 teams. There are 8 groups of 4. The top 2 teams out of each group will advance to the knockout. So we're going to do about 4 to 5 minutes on each group, tell you who to watch out for. So let's start with Group A. Uh, Joe's kind of playing our man, not necessarily behind the scenes, but he's gonna have the brackets, the groups pulled up for us. So Joe, who is in Group A?
Group A has we're gonna start off with the host nation. We have Qatar, Ecuador, Netherlands, and Senegal. So Senegal is your reigning African nation champions. Qatar obviously is not a big name in the world of soccer, but they have some pretty solid players still. Netherlands is one of the bigger nations when it comes to footballing around the world, and then Ecuador down from South America, who have some really good players that might have some name recognition across some of the bigger leagues across the world. So those are our 4 in Group A. And Ecuador and
So
Qatar will
my
kick off the World Cup this Sunday, the 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I believe most of these games are going to be on Fox Sports.
so at
Which
this
is a
group,
shame.
just remind Netherlands, for people who are a little bit older or just been watching for a long time, Netherlands late 90s, early 2000s was one of those was like a elite football team. They had they had a lot of great players. Sort of fell off toward like the end of the 2000s, early 2010s, but they're back. Uh, Trav, of interest to Trav, Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool, plays for the Netherlands. Sadio Mane, who left Liverpool for Bayern Munich, plays for Senegal. Um, just my initial thoughts on the group, just quickly, is I think the Netherlands will win the group, and I think Senegal will finish second, but that's completely dependent on Mane's health. It's
I
sort of
that's a good point. He's their main superstar on that team, and if he's not 100%, I I think it changes a little bit the dynamic of that offense and their attacking third.
Mhm.
As even as he's done in Liverpool, as he's done in Bayern, he's an important player, and that's where I think if he's not 100%, I think Netherlands is probably the go-to to win the group, and I think Ecuador. Ecuador in South America has been very strong. They qualified very well, giving Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay a very tough time. And so I think my top pick is Netherlands, and then also Netherlands missing the last World Cup. They have a
Yeah.
that little bit of recent memory to have to deal with, and to erase that, they know coming into this World Cup and having a good showing will help. And then Ecuador coming out number 2 in that group for me.
Damn, Diego, your first show and you're already stealing my hot takes. Uh, but yeah,
I pay
he's
attention.
exactly right. Yeah, you do. Can we talk about the biggest travesty here? The Netherlands only has one Van in their roster, Van Dyke. Gone are the years of Van Nistelrooy, Van Rood. Like
Yeah.
this is the biggest travesty of them all.
Got a couple De
But yeah,
Jongs. We got a couple De Jongs.
Yeah.
Got Frankie and Luke De
Yep.
Jong, but that's about it. And De Ligt.
It's utter disgrace. But yeah, I really like this Ecuador team. I don't think they're gonna have enough to take the group, but I like Estupian and Caicedo and Ener Valencia, although he's getting older, is still very, very capable. And they play well. They play fluid. They have that South American style of play that usually does very well in the World Cup. So I will echo Diego's sentiments, and I will have the Netherlands 1 and Ecuador 2.
And the big thing with Netherlands going forward, I think they make it out of the group no problem. Big one for them is they're matched up with Senegal first, and if Mane is healthy, obviously we know what they're capable of. But that I think is the big matchup within the group, to see where Senegal is going to be at and how much of a threat they're going to be moving forward. But with Netherlands, the big question, I guess, after they hopefully, in theory, get out of the group, who's going to score in the big matches?
Yeah.
They don't really have a dominant forward right now. It looks like Memphis is probably their guy. You got Bergwijn and Weghorst and Luke De Jong as kind of like the main names that you would see as a forward. But they're going to have to.
Cody Gakpo made the roster, right?
Yeah, they have listed him as a midfielder, so they're going to have to. Depends on where they line up and what way how they're going to line up. But Xavi Simons has also been playing really well for Eindhoven, or not Eindhoven, from PSG when he transferred over. But Gakpo, they have a lot of talent, but they don't have like that one guy that is going to pull a goal that you can think of, like Mane, like Messi, like those kind of guys. They should defend really well with Van Dijk and Ake and De Ligt, and Timber. They got just a bunch of names that play in big league.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the host nation, I don't see them gaining many points. Their best chance maybe if Senegal doesn't have Mane to snag a little a point here or there, but I think they're going to struggle. So I think the host nation is going to enjoy their team's 3 matches and then pick another squad to
3 in barbecue.
There you go.
Now, Group B. Forget the group of death. This is the Twitter is Group B. Joe, who's in Group B?
This is one we want to be paying close attention to. We have England, Iran, Wales, and then we also have our home country, the United States. If you notice, that's probably who I'm pulling mostly for.
So I said this on the previous show. The United States versus England on Black Friday will obliterate whatever the record is for U.S. soccer on TV. The ratings for that game will be unbelievable. The trash talk has already started in our group. Shout out to our man, I'm gonna start calling him the football foodie, Joe Hayden Hicks, who has come with lots of American slander for the last week. But I do feel England will finish 1. The United States will finish 2 in the group. But boy, does the pressure mount, especially on England, if they do not get 3 points in that matchup with the United States. Joe, I'm going to start with you because Joe is probably, as you can tell by his outfit, Joe is the real American, Hulk Hogan 85. All that to the side, Joe, does the United States have a realistic chance of beating England in that match?
Yes, for the sheer fact that England's World Cup history is not littered with a lot of success. They've no-showed several times in tournaments. We've beaten them before. So there is a little bit of history there. So it really is going to be interesting to see the starting 11 that these teams pick between England and the US. Our recent form has not been great, so that's not a something going our way in that situation. But we have a lineup that can disrupt what England would like to do. I wouldn't put us as the favorites at all, but I wouldn't sit here and say that we're going to get ran out the gym. But I do think that they have an opportunity to steal that one if they play to their best ability. But that has not happened recently. So we'll see who Berhalter decides to pick for his starting 11, what formation he decides to run. We shall see what happens.
And on the flip side of this coin, I want to go Zach Diego. Zach, if you've been watching this show for the last 2 months, Zach is what we would call the pessimistic American supporter. He's not a fan of pretty much Berhalter, and the guy on Joe's right shoulder, he's absolutely slandered for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and that is Christian Pulisic. Zach, as we near the tournament starting, is there anything that convinces you? Forget the England match, that this United States team, one, gets out of the group, and two, can win a game in a knockout.
I'll tell you how we'll do in the course of this tournament after the Wales match. The Wales match is going to set the tone for me, and that'll determine what the rest of this tournament looks like for the United States, because the Welsh team is better than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for. They, still have. We talk about players who can take it upon themselves and score goals. Although Gareth Bale is not the Gareth Bale of Champions League final bicycle kick, Gareth Bale, he's still very, very talented. He can take over a game. So if Berhalter comes out and they kind of shit the bed against Wales, then I think the U.S. is in trouble, because then that match on Black Friday becomes a must-win. Because if you lose to Wales, then you have to beat England if you want to get through the group. And so I know everyone is looking forward to that England match. I am too. But I want to get past Wales first. And yes, I wouldn't say I'm a pessimist. I say I'm a realist. I'm realistic about what the U.S. team is. And there is one person on the 26-man roster that has World Cup experience. One. And that's DeAndre Edlin.
The youngest team in the tournament. We are the youngest team in the tournament.
You know what? I read that recently, and I was shocked to bring a squad that inexperienced.
Spain's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I guess it's just I don't know the exact average, but I can't imagine that Spain, their average age is that much greater than the U.S. Because they're bringing a lot of first timers as well, and even leaving some great vets at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was a shocker. When I saw that, I said, what is
Yeah.
Luis Enrique doing? But that's for later talking the
Yeah, well,
and
when we
down
get
the
to
group
Spain's group, we're gonna
talks
definitely.
here.
That is an interesting choice. So, Diego, I'll stay with you. Is there any other possibility other than England 1, USA 2 in that group?
I think it just will depend on Wales. I don't see Iran making much noise. I think the other national teams are a step above. I think depth and just the competition that they're playing against in their confederations. So I kind of I'm not the biggest Berhalter fan. I was a little skeptical when he was with the crew. He's a very analytical guy. He brings metrics to the game. He's kind of like the make this for football fans. He's like the Kevin Stefanski of soccer. You know, bringing all these different metrics and percentages. And it worked in the MLS. It got the crew pretty far. Couldn't win the championship until Caleb Porter came in, but it was essentially his foundation. I don't know that will be able to translate in a short competition like is the World Cup. And you have too many variables. Plus now health is a big issue. I just don't know. It is very up in the air now with the U.S. bringing in a young squad. If they can make it past the group, now you got some tired legs. These guys are young, and that health is going to be able to push them in the very tight game. So late minutes in the game versus England, if they can hold on, then it starts getting interesting. Versus Wales, starts getting interesting. So we'll see what kind of formation he decides on, and but I think there is a lot of weight on Pulisic. I think Pulisic, to me, him and Gio Reyna are a step above the rest of the guys. You can add in Weston McKennie. I think McKennie has really proven himself in Serie A with Juventus, being having a lot of playing time and competing even within his own team and standing out. Those three guys are really going to have to carry this team. They're the ones that see the best competition and have within their different clubs have stood up above some of the rest of the players. So, but I think it's looking good for the U.S. to come out second, and I hope that game versus Wales, they start off on the right foot, because like Zach said, if they don't, that uphill battle that they're going to be fighting against England is, you don't want that situation.
You got to get at least a point from Wales. You got to at a minimum.
Yeah, you don't have a bounce back match. It's not like they sandwich, Iran in between those two matches. So it's back to back Wales, then England. And that's the tough part, is it starts off very rapidly. I did want to ask you, Diego, how do you think they're going to end up lining up? Do you think they're going to have three in the back, or do you see a back four?
Well, I think I could see a four, or I could see transitioning, having Yedlin be that roamer up and down the flank. He's done it in the past. He has the physical capabilities to do it for 90 minutes, converting him into kind of like a Dani Alves, where he'll show up as a number 6 or he'll show up as a number 11, straight up attacking. So it just depends on, I think, versus Wales, be aggressive, go try to get the game, win the numbers in the midfield, maybe go 3 in the back. But I don't know that I would run the risk versus England. they're attacking. I think you're going to want an extra guy in the back four because their wingers are very strong. With Rashford, with Kane and Sterling, I imagine will be the kind of their attacking players if they're all healthy. And that's defending even one of those guys. You're going to want an extra guy back there, but I could see
So
versus Wales.
that's my issue is right now I'm looking at the center backs for the US, and if they're in a back four, who do you pair with Walker Zimmerman? Is it Tim Ream, who has a boatload of Premier League experience and has played against those English players, but he is not the most fleet of foot. He's a lot like Thiago Silva in the fact that he's really good at reading the game. So he puts himself in good positions, but if he gets beat, he's not catching up. So do you play a guy like him, or do you play a guy like Aaron Long in that back two, who's a little bit more fleet of foot, not quite as talented at reading the game? I just, and that's where my issues with the US are is in that defense right now, and I just don't know. I don't know how they're going to line up.
I think versus a team like England, they're gonna possess the ball. I think your best chances are pressuring from the midfield to the forward, recover there, and then look to attack on a counter. I don't think that they'd be too worried about wanting to have majority of the possession during the game, because probably won't happen, and it's probably going to be a lot more kind of a divided game. The pressure is going to be really high, so you're going to have a lot of turnovers. So I think their best chance there is, get guys, outnumber them in the midfield, kind of slow them in their transition, but high pressure, recover, counter. Not even messing around with trying to build up. I know Berhalter's a big build up guy, but versus a team that you're going against, sometimes, you got to pick and choose your battles. You're not, if you have to give up possession in a game, give it up, but control what you can control. That's your formation, staying really compact, not giving them a lot of spaces, trying to avoid one-on-one situations, because that Sterling, Rashford, and Kane one-on-one, they'll beat you down the flank. They have too much skill on the ball. So
yeah,
and you're going to want to be able to cover, make sure guys are very strict in their positioning, because there's going to be a lot of help side defense having to, especially on the wings, and then do your best in the middle to box them in, let them have the ball, but not giving up too many spaces. That's kind of how I see that game unfolding, is US, seeding, giving them possession, and then, okay, boom, recover on a turnover, or try to pressure them to make a mistake, and then counter.
Now, I will say this. England will help you out, because if you watched England, anybody who watched England, don't be fooled by the way they play the Euros. England, to me, plays down to their own level of talent.
Mm-hmm.
England probably, on pure talent, might have as much actual attacking talent as anybody in this tournament. If you just look at the talent.
They probably have more, to be honest.
But the way they play as if they don't have that much talent.
Mm-hmm.
Gareth Southgate, to me, has put those dudes in handcuffs. When you have Foden, Bellingham, Sterling, Kane, Grealish, Rashford, James Maddison, who made their front, they can choose from a ton of talent, but they don't play to them. And I think the United States, especially if they keep that match like a 0-0 late, and we know England plays with all types of pressure. If they can keep that thing at a draw, the later it gets, I actually favor the United States because I think Gareth Southgate, for whatever reason, has England just playing this really, I don't want to say it's Atletico Madrid, but they are, but for all the talent they have, England is a bad watch a lot of times.
And who does he insist on running out there at center back constantly?
And that was my thing is the weakest part of the England team is that defense, just due to injuries alone. And they're taking, it looks like, at least if I were to pick their back four starting off, you're looking at Trent, Ben White, Harry Maguire, and then I don't even know who you're going to put at left back.
Luke Shaw is the only dedicated left back.
Okay, so Shaw.
The other left side they got is Connor Cody, I think, and he's filler.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They can be had defensively because if he even runs a back three, he's probably running Maguire, maybe Stones and Kyle Walker if he's fully healthy.
Stones, yeah.
And as much as I love my Man City boys, they are prone in the England squad to the odd mental lapse, especially if you're trying to cover for Harry. There will be chances. They are going to give people chances.
Yeah.
It's hard to transition from what City does to England's national team because unless all those guys are playing the same system as Guardiola and the way he has them running and covering spaces and in their buildups, it's tough to replicate. So, and then you get guys that come from different schools or schools of thoughts with their coaches and what they're used to, and to put it all together, it's hard. But
yeah, I think England wins the group, but I wouldn't. United States stealing a draw or stealing an ugly 1-0 is not. It's not out of the question.
Before we head off to the next group, we have another guest joining us, and we've already spoken about his one of his favorite two teams. So I'd like to give him an opportunity to know that as a collective group, we have all chosen Ecuador to kind of move through as well in that.
Right.
So Julio, welcome.
Except for Ronnie. Ronnie didn't. Ronnie picked Senegal.
Like 3 out of not everybody, but Julio, welcome, sir.
Hello, what's up, guys? What's going on?
So
welcome.
We went through groups A and group B already, and the consensus was Netherlands and Ecuador. So since we've already hit Ecuador, I wanted you to get a chance to give us how you're feeling about your squad.
Everything is about, so right now the squad's in a emotional roller coaster with this whole Byron Castillo problem, but we're pretty optimistic. I like to say that aside from Argentina and Brazil, a lot of these South American teams are very underrated when it comes to their players. I'm a big believer if a lot of these players, these Ecuadorian players, had Brazilian passports, they'd be in way bigger teams, because the way they're performing in their clubs is. There's never been so many Ecuadorian players at this young in European teams. It's the first time we've ever had something like that. I was talking to a friend. I would say if this was Colombia instead of Ecuador, all the pundits would be saying Netherlands and Colombia pass. They forget we smoked Colombia in Colombia. We tied in Barranquilla, which Diego should know how hard it is to play in Barranquilla.
South America in general is the hardest qualifier.
Right. I get half the teams qualify, but it's aside from Argentina and Brazil, everybody is so evenly matched. A lot of people say, well, Ecuador, the altitude. The majority of the players don't even play in Ecuador anymore. They play abroad. So the altitude is really not that big of a factor anymore, at least. So it's not that big of a help. Heck, we played Argentina in Guayaquil. Guayaquil is coast city. It's like Barranquilla, and of course, Argentina is just overall better team. So I'm not even gonna front, but it was a pretty tight game. I see Ecuador. I, I see Ecuador passing to the skin of the teeth, just because I don't want to say. I know it may sound wrong, but it's Qatar at home. That's the match that worries me the most. Not Netherlands, not Senegal. It's the Qatar match. A host has never lost a home opener ever of the World Cup in history. And let's be real. If there's a split decision going on into a penalty box, it's probably going to go towards. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So that's where I mean, us Ecuadorians, we're just negative by nature. So this is the first time we actually have excitement over a young team. This team finished. The majority of this team they finished third place in the U20 World Cup a couple years ago. So a lot of those players are from there. So, so I see the Netherlands and Senegal. I think Ecuador goes with 5 points, and Senegal just doesn't make it with 4. I see that happening. I really see Ecuador pulling. Even if Netherlands has 20 shots on goal, I see them going on a 0-0, 1-1 draw with Netherlands. I really see it. It's possible. I see a draw with Senegal. I see the victory with Qatar. 2-0 maybe.
All right.
And
So we go ahead. Go finish up.
I'm sorry. And Group B, honestly, I feel like anybody can beat anybody in that group. I don't think England's as good as people think they are. I think where USA lacks is the same as England in the back. Berhalter ball. They want to play off the back, but don't have center backs or a goalkeeper to play off the back. So, I mean, it's just tactically, I don't know. He does everything backwards. Up front, US has a reason to be optimistic, although I'm blown up about Pepe, but
Oof, that was I agree.
I still can't. I don't understand how him and PFOC, neither of them made it.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's disrespectful if you think about it.
Mhm.
They told him to go to Germany. He went to Germany. Fine, it didn't work out. It doesn't happen. He's 18 years, 19 years old. They tell him move so you can have more playing times. Mind you, they're calling him to the national team, and he's not playing well. When he wasn't playing well, they kept on calling him. He goes to the Netherlands, is scoring goals left and right, and now they don't break. They compared him to Jesus Ferreira. Those were Berhalter's words. I'm like, Ferreira's more like a false 9-10. Pepe's a 9. It's ridiculous. So anyways, I think England, just because Harry Kane might save them, I think they take the group. And I know Wales, whatever, but I think Iran is the dark horse. I think USA-Iran, whoever wins between that game is going to go.
All right. So
I don't rate Wales.
we're going to move to the groups a little bit quicker. We want to spend a lot of time because we got a lot of Ecuador, USA representation. So we definitely going to spend more time with that. So let's go a little bit quicker, but let's go to Group C. Joe, who's in Group C?
We got Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. So we got some big names in
Tough group,
big name players in this group. And I think 3 strong candidates to pull through. Saudi Arabia, I think clearly the team that's going to have the roughest go of it. I think Argentina is the class, and we'll see what happens in that Mexico-Poland game. I think that ended up being the deciding factor who goes through it in the second spot. But I think Argentina clearly is a class of the group.
So I'll just do this really quick. I think Argentina wins the group. The more on Argentina later, but Argentina will win the group. I'll take Mexico as the number 2. I'm not a big. I feel like Poland, even though they have Lewandowski, I don't know if there's enough around Lewandowski to get past Mexico, who maybe this is not vintage Mexico, but they're just stubborn. a very stubborn squad, and in these knockouts, in these tournament situations, I think Mexico has just enough that they are the second team in that group. Even if Poland maybe might have the second best player in the group is on Poland. I don't like what else is around Lewandowski well enough. I don't like it. So give me a stubborn Mexico team as the second team.
I'll defer to Diego since I can see him chomping at the bit.
This is it's not going to be easy, but Argentina coming out 1, and I actually have Poland coming out 2. So I think apart from Argentina, they'll have to face Saudi Arabia the first game, set the tone there. But that Mexico game is one to keep an eye on because of Argentina and Mexico's history in World Cups, and because you have 2 Latin American teams that characteristically in these kind of games, when they get really tight, is not going to be very pretty. You're probably going to have a lot of fouls. Messi's not going to be left alone. And also add in that Martino, Argentinian, had coached Argentina in the past. He knows a lot of these players very well. He's going to put together a really tough plan against Argentina. And then Poland I think Poland gets out, but by a point difference. I think Lewandowski will carry his team and even get past Mexico, I think. But we'll see. This is going to be an interesting group and have some interesting matchups too. Also back to Mexico, this is a new project. This isn't, Martino's only been there a couple years. He brought on Funes Mori, who previously was not on the national team. He just got his Mexican citizenship. So he's him and his brother played for Argentina's national team. And he decided to stick with Mexico, who he's playing, I think, still with Monterrey. So he's going to be a forward to keep an eye on too.
So
Trav, what you got?
We got Trav with his hand raised, and then we got a question in the chat. So Trav, did you have a question?
You muted, brother.
You're muted.
Sorry about that.
That's
It's
all right.
not more of a question. It's just something that I have saw and noticed. Like we was just talking, I guess the last live we were talking about just other players and stuff like that. And I seen Messi. This dude is like a god. I ain't never seen nobody get crossed over in soccer.
Messi is God, bro.
Dude is amazing. Now, what is he like? 35, 36?
35.
So he's on his dog years. But if he have any flashbacks of what those highlights was, Argentina
His current form
is the favorite. They're basically the favorite to win this?
One of the 3, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna talk as we get further to the knockouts, but
okay,
you're not far off.
Yeah, that's why I mean, Jesus.
He's like LeBron. His game has evolved through the years. LeBron came in young, physical, just dominating, just on pure physical attributes. And throughout the years, LeBron's gotten better at different aspects of the game, whether it was passing, fadeaway shots, more post up. where he's not having to run as much. Messi's been the same, taking analyzing each position that he's in. Where can he receive the ball and be more effective? You see now with PSG, he doesn't have to do all the hard work. He's got Neymar and Mbappe, who are much younger, and Verratti in the midfield. These guys are doing most of the grunt work, and then his job is that final third where he can find that pass, and you got Neymar and Mbappe making their runs. And you've seen that, yeah, he's not scoring the 40 goals a year, 50 goals a year like we're used to seeing. But look at his assist. He's still the top assist guy in Europe. And I mean, so his game has evolved even with Argentina. Yeah, he's still scoring goals, but he facilitates. He tries to be that facilitator, that point guard, more than being that finisher that he was in his mid-20s. The year he scored 91 goals in a calendar year. Those days are gone.
I think that's what's, yeah. I think that's the one thing that impresses me with Messi, and that's why I will continue to and always rate him as the greatest footballer of all time. That's not debatable for me, and it never will be debatable. But the thing that's impressive for me is that as he gets older, like Diego said, he's smarter about the way he plays. His runs are more calculated. His runs are smarter. Gone are the days where he makes that 50, 60-yard run, dribbling through 9 guys and then slotting it in the side netting. Now he lets others who are younger and just as are talented bring the ball up, and then he'll either facilitate it to another player or he'll make a smart run to finish it off. Argentina is going to win this group. I think that's pretty clear in my eyes. I don't like El Tri this year. I just, like you said, it's a youth project. It's not the physical, like, I used to look at matches with Mexico and be like, okay, this is going to be a slobber knocker. It reminds me of like a Premier League match in the rain, that's just physical and demanding. I feel, and maybe this is a credit to the way that the coaching is going now. They're more South American. They're passing more. They're not as physical. So I think El Tri is a little bit a ways from where they need to be to take it to the next step. So I have Poland. I like Poland. I think they're a little bit more underrated than what you guys might think. Milik is doing well in Juve, and Frankowski is in Lens, I think. And then I'm missing one. Zelensky in Napoli is having a phenomenal year. So I like Poland. I think that they're a better team than they're getting credit for. So that's at least that's where I stand. Smart man.
I mean, believe it or not, first of all, how you guys doing? It's probably my first time right here, but I don't know if you got. I mean, I shared it this morning. I did. I had my preview last, and they took me nearly all night to edit it because you got to edit. But I took a risk. I said, look, Alexi Lawless said it too. This is probably the worst Mexican team he's ever seen. And you can't ignore the fact that Mexico couldn't even beat Canada in the qualifiers. And people say, who cares? Like, no, if you can't beat Canada, you're Mexico. That is something that can't go unnoticed. I mean, they finished third. Mm-hmm. For Mexico to finish under the U.S. and Canada, that's something you can't ignore. So I have Argentina and Poland.
So that sounds like, so Joe, do you Argentina, Poland pretty much?
Yeah, I didn't like the form of Mexico in the qualifiers, and it's not a vintage Mexico team that's just going to be an annoyance to other teams. To the point where they can kind of pull a draw out of their hats when they needed to, and maybe a 1-0 win just because they're irritating other people so much. They don't have that same cast of guys that are just going to get under folks' skin constantly and everything. And their form in the qualifiers was not good, like Alex was mentioning. They didn't play particularly well. So I have Poland as well.
All right,
Like
so
a close margin too. I put it up in our chat. We got Argentina and Poland. I think it's a consensus on that one.
let's go to
So-
group.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say something real quick.
Go ahead.
You know,
Go ahead.
What's up,
I
Julio?
will admit, other than Zelensky and Lewandowski, I don't really know too much about Poland. So by default, I was gonna pick Mexico. When I come out and think, like, I don't really like Alexi Lalas. I think he talks a whole bunch of gibberish, but he had a very good point. Is the worst and Mexico's always been characterized as a team. Yeah, they're not gonna go win anything big, but they normally do pretty well. They normally have good performances. Like, you can't say, wow, Mexico played really bad. Mexico normally dies with their style, but they don't have that one player. Chucky Lozano's not as great as he was 4 years ago. You can argue their best strikers from Argentina. You know what I'm saying? It's
Funes Mori,
I don't know.
he's gonna score goals for him. I think he's gonna be the
Right.
guy that they're gonna look to.
And
He's there. Him and
that.
I think that Lozano's gonna. I think he can come up and be big for him again, but we'll see.
I would say just for default, because I don't know enough about Poland, so I guess take it for what it is. I'd pick Mexico because it is true. Mexico in the World Cups, they somehow they kind of get it on. So who would have thought they would have even a bad Germany last time around? Who would have thought Mexico were going to beat them? Just by default, but just to make it quick, I'd say Argentina and Mexico. But for everybody that speaks Spanish, for our sake, and lives in the United States, I just don't want to hear about it on ESPN Deportes anymore because I've about had it about the Mexican national team and their sorrows with Tata Martino. If they're gonna lose early, get out, so we don't have to hear about it anymore. And even then, the World Cup will continue. We'll still hear about them. So,
well, and I think to answer Storms' question real quick, I think Ochoa's days of being superhuman is kind of behind him. He's a good goalkeeper, but every time I think of his performance in the World Cup, I think of Tim Howard's performance against Belgium, and that's always cemented in my brain. But we are not going to see a performance like that again. And I think it makes Mexico very, very beatable.
Joe, who's in Group D?
Alex got in at the right time because we're moving into a group that contains one of his fave squads. We have Australia.
I already did the rant yesterday. I don't know. I know Julio listened. I don't know about the rest of you boys. And Julio, as far as you being fed up, you said it already earlier today. You're fed up with Ecuador being underlooked or overlooked, I should say, rather. You're tired of Ecuador just being looked at as, in pro wrestling terms, as a jobber.
So we have
Sorry,
France,
guys.
Tunisia, Denmark, and Australia. And I think we have two teams that are probably going to come out of that group fairly comfortably.
Guys,
France
I
and
said
Denmark.
it yesterday. I don't know if you guys know, France isn't winning the group. Not in my opinion. France ain't winning the group.
You got Denmark?
Yeah. I won't even be surprised if France even make it out of the group stage. And I'm not saying this because of the curse, because I've had it with the arrogance, with the players' behaviors. Didier Deschamps' tactics are too old school. He has not evolved since 4 years ago. But some people argue that the players did it on their own. You can argue that, but right now he has no control of the team. Mbappe has become a diva. Okay, there's too many injuries, and the midfield is young. There's talent, but they're young and inexperienced, and the defense is not very convincing. But there's talent out there. So the French national team is lacking a lot of experience. But at the same time, it's the behavior. I've ranted too many times that Zidane has to take over the national team. I don't need to rant it out because I'm sure you guys have heard me rant about it enough. Joe, I know you have, but if France craps the bed and if that ensures Zidane taking over, then I'm all for it. But I don't know. I don't even know how France can even make a deep run, honestly.
It's interesting because you remember in 1998, France wins the World Cup. They come back in 2002 and lose every game in the group stage.
Well, they drew one, but they failed. The most important thing is they failed to even score.
Yeah, they don't score in the group stage, they get knocked out. 2018, they win the World Cup. And if you look at the last 6 months, I would say building up to this, anything, a lot of it's self-inflicted that you can do wrong, they've done it. And I still have them winning the group because I think even with what's not there, I think there's enough talent to get through the group. But I picked them to win the tournament 6 months ago. But with everything that's going on since, them not getting out of the group would be surprising, but it wouldn't be like shock and awe. I don't like anything they've done in preparation for the tournament.
What have they done in preparation, honestly?
Yeah, so I have France winning the group, Denmark too, but what he just said, like way he laid it out, it could very easily happen that way. Very easy.
All I know is Kamavinga better count his fucking days for that studs up tackle on Nkuku. Like that was egregious.
Yeah,
and that injury looks bad. It looked bad. So I think France will win this group. They have an incredibly youthful midfield with Kamavinga and Tchouaméni. That their talent up front alone will be fine. And it's not like Tchouaméni and Kamavinga are slouches. I mean, they're fantastic players. They just don't have the experience. But, like a lot of teams, if your younger, inexperienced players get help from the experienced players. And so the highlight of that group for me now is the Christian Eriksen return to glory, like that. That's what I want to see. See how everything pans out for him. He's had a good run since his, I guess they call it a heart attack, whatever you want to call it. Near death experience is what I call it.
Man,
so
it was scary. Whatever it was scary.
Yeah, that's what I'm signed up for.
Could have very well ended his career.
Oh yeah, look what Aguero went through. Those heart issues, not ones to take lightly.
Yeah.
Joe, let's go to E.
Group E, we have two former winners in this group in Spain and Germany. We have Costa Rica and Japan, so it's a pretty rough group. I'm two clear favorites, I think, but Japan and Costa Rica can give them both a rough go of it at times.
You should see what my guest said on my show yesterday about this group. I don't know, hey Julio, I don't know how far you went with the episode, but a lot of picks that were made on my show, man. You guys be blown away, believe me.
Well, wait, I'm sorry. You guys, so we're in the Spain, Germany, Costa Rica, and Japan group?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Well, quick, because I didn't touch on the France part. Mbappe gets France through, but I think they get knocked out top round 16 quarterfinals and Denmark. But back to, I feel like Spain wins this group, and I'm going to go with default Spain and Germany simply because Japan is the team that give anybody a hard run, but somehow just falls short. Costa Rica, I don't see this Costa Rica. This is a really old Costa Rica team, I believe. This is not the Costa Rica from Keylor Navas in Brazil. It's not the same. This is not a team that wowed everybody. That's not this team. I think Costa Rica loses all 3 games. I think Spain wins the group. A lot of people forget, pundits and all. These pundits like to think they talk, and somehow I don't know how they have jobs in these networks.
I mean, we should have their jobs, Julio.
Right? I'm saying I feel like I'm more entertaining. They should watch Stoppage Time and read my threads. I'm pretty entertaining. We
all are. We should have their jobs.
Believe me. Anyways, in the Euros, Spain dominated every single game that they played. They made Italy run laps. They made Italy look like children running around them. It's just they have a goal scoring problem, but so does Germany.
This isn't the same Spain squad though.
It's
This is
almost,
this is a
almost
younger team though. They have
right,
left out.
Yeah, but from the Euros, it's almost identical. Luis Enrique is not a person. The one he didn't bring was Gerard Moreno, which is I'm in shock.
Mm-hmm.
And
shocking letdown.
yeah, and Sergio Ramos, who he said, "Oh, we have to see if he gets informed." This is the best informed he'll ever get.
I don't think Ferran Torres was on the Euro team either. I think he's a new inclusion there. So
right,
a lot of changes. Gavi got thrown into the mix.
I think Gavi, he was not in the Euros.
No,
nope.
I don't know. I just really like how. Maybe it's just me being a fanboy, but I've always enjoyed Spain and their football. I think maybe goal difference, but I think that Germany-Spain is going to end up being a draw. I think goal difference, the little goal difference, Spain will probably take first place, then Germany.
I'm gonna jump in here on Group E. My only comment, just going back to Group D, I am going in with the curse. France does not make it past the group. Denmark at 1, and in that group, I'm going Australia in 2. I think
the Socceroos.
Yeah, I really liked their grit and watching them qualify in a very, very tight knockout there, that playoff game with Peru. I think that gave them a lot of confidence, and Peru was not an easy team. Very, very tough team. But yeah, so that was the only comment I want to add in there. The curse is real. Okay. And going in Group E, taking Germany 1. I think they have with Timo's injury, they have some questions maybe in their attacking third and goal scoring, but I think that 2 is going to be a toss-up. I'm not completely convinced with Spain's young team. I like the project for the next World Cup. I think they look fantastic, but for this specific one, it is I think maybe too much youth, not enough experience there. Still some question marks with for Luis Enrique to figure out formations and which guys are going to go where. Costa Rica, they have all the experience there, but yes, they're not the most youthful. So, and Japan, don't really know enough about Japan. But in the past World Cups, always entertaining games, very close, given the bigger nations' tough matchups. But my gut was going to stick with Costa Rica's experience. And so I'm taking them number 2. I don't think Spain and Japan will make it through there.
Wow.
But I'm taking the experience. I know it's going to be tough for them, but
very bold.
Hey, it's a World Cup and anything can happen. So
that's the beauty of soccer.
Yep,
anything can happen.
Just got to catch them on the right day.
So for this group, so we can move to Group F, and then we're gonna have to pick the knockouts. Does the majority say Spain 1, Germany 2?
Hell no.
What is saying?
Well,
no.
Mannschaft. I think the Mannschaft will make.
I mean, I do have Germany winning the group. That we talk about that on my show as well. I mean, some of the guys even said that Japan will finish second because Japan is actually one of the best. Is probably the best team in Asia. I mean, if I'm correct, don't they have the most Asian Cup titles, or they've been to the final the most times?
Mm-hmm.
Iran is technically the number 1 team in Asia right now, but
okay. But see, Japan plays a certain style that we're not familiar with because it's much different than the European styles that we see on TV. I mean, Japan can show up and they could lose all 3 games. They could pull off a massive upset. But again, as Diego said, it's soccer. I mean, anything can happen. But Germany winning is the no-brainer to me.
Okay.
Spain could finish second, but the problem with Spain is they are very talented, but they're young. The manager is doing a good job at rebuilding the team. I mean, 4 years from now, Spain ought to be considered an overwhelming favorite, if as long as if they make progress.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So Germany, when it being topping the group again, is a no-brainer. But second place could certainly be a 3-way fight, or in pro wrestling terms, we say 3-way dance or triple threat. Sorry with the pro wrestling twist, guys. I'm a wrestling fanatic, but
It's okay.
I think, Ronnie, I know you are too, and I know Julio is as well. But I think it's a 3-way toss-up for number 2. I mean, but I think Costa Rica might have the least chance because, but you never know.
So let's do this. Just to split it. So let's go Germany as the E1. And then when we go to our knockouts, because I think E2 plays, we'll figure it out.
E2 plays F1.
Okay, so let's go to Group F. F is who's in F?
Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. I don't think there's any easy games for anybody in those.
This is my group of death.
This is the group of death.
Yeah.
This is the group of death.
So I picked Belgium and Canada, actually. But again, I'm more than willing to be outvoted. But this is a really tough group to pick. I said Belgium.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I said Belgium and Canada, but I am willing to listen to any combination too. Because I think this is a really tough group to pick.
I really think it's just so hard because, man, I want to jump on the Canada bandwagon, but I can't rate them higher than Croatia or Belgium. I can't. You have Jonathan David, great striker. Everybody knows Alphonso Davies, probably if not the best left back in the world. He's definitely
has a little knock, has a little injury.
Mm-hmm.
right. Wait,
and listed as a forward, which is
I think
weird to me.
Roster space. Well, wasn't he? I remember when he was with Vancouver, wasn't he an attacking midfielder? Something along the lines.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think Croatia sneaks with the group and Belgium fights with Morocco for that third spot. Morocco is much better than people think.
You ready for this, Julio?
Go ahead.
We agree.
Look at that. Look at that. A lot of things get lost.
I have
messaging and stuff.
I have Croatia winning this group. Luka Modric is in his final World Cup. And the youthful movement for Croatia actually happened in the last World Cup, and they still made a good run. So I actually have Croatia winning this group and making a decent run. So give me Croatia. And as much as I love Belgium, there are so many Belgian players that I love. I'm actually going to take Morocco.
Wow.
Return of the Ziyech.
As far as I'm concerned, Belgium's golden generation right now is basically just about there, like at its end. I mean, Belgium's at a point where they got to rebuild their next one. And as far as I know, Canada could very well be the Cinderella team of this tournament. I mean, in a World Cup, there's the dark horse, and then there's the Cinderella team. Like
that's actually cool.
Yeah. Now, people ask, like, how can I possibly even think of Canada of being the Cinderella team? But 8 years ago, Costa Rica was that Cinderella team, and nobody gave him anything. So, I mean, you never know. It's the World Cup. But now, the way I see it now, realistically, Belgium and Croatia have to be the teams that can easily make it through, but there's no such thing as easily making it through. Canada, if they can somehow, they're going to have to at least hold Belgium to a draw, but if that happens, they have to beat Croatia to have a chance. But then again, Morocco, much like Ecuador, everybody's always sleeping on Morocco, just like everybody's sleeping on Iran. But see, when you bring up that this is possibly the group of death, I mean, it's obviously a very difficult group, but honestly, Belgium, I did have Belgium finishing on top, but I wouldn't be surprised if Belgium crapped the bed. I mean, the likes of Lukaku and Azar, being where they are right now. I mean, aside from those guys, there's some other guys too, like that are not as popular, but they can still get the job done. But
that team lives in that team is going to live or die by how De Bruyne plays.
Yeah, very likely
because Lukaku's out of form and injured, and Hazard is a shell of what he used to be at Chelsea.
Yeah.
So if KDB can take them and put them on his shoulders, then they'll be fine, and they'll make it through. But if they can't rely on him every single match, because it's not gonna well for them.
Like, we're leaning Croatia 1. And it sounds
Is that what you have,
like
Joe?
I got Croatia 1 and Belgium 2.
I'll let you do it. Guys.
I'm the same way, but guys, I refuse to count out Canada. I mean,
it's okay.
If Canada proves me wrong, I'll be happy, but I just refuse to rule out Canada.
I'm confident. I'm still confident that Belgium can make it out 1 and Croatia 2. This is for that generation of Belgium players, this is the World Cup to finally get over the hump. And I think that team has the talent to do it. Yes, their catalyst is Kevin De Bruyne, but we'll see. Those are my pick. I think Croatia's golden generation as well still has enough in the tank to get into the knockouts as well. It's tough. That is a tough group with Canada and Morocco, but I'm kind of leaning towards that experience with this group. I think Belgium 1, Croatia 2.
Okay.
That just shows you how hard this group is to pick, because there's really no consensus on 1 and 2.
Yeah, we have.
And you don't need the
with
with the group of death. You don't need the historical big nations to be in a group to have a group of death.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it. These are Croatia has been in the dance before. It still has Belgium, but the other 2 countries.
Here's a good way to do this. The winner of F1's winner plays who?
E2.
F1, E2. Mm-hmm.
So here's how we can do it. Who's more likely to beat Spain? Croatia or Belgium?
Croatia would love to have revenge.
Croatia.
I agree with Zach.
I think Croatia controls that game fairly easily.
I mean, Croatia is hell bent on revenge from the Euro. So I mean,
so based on that, I think that maybe we go Croatia 1. If it's a Croatia Spain round of 16.
I think it's a toss up.
That's a nice matchup.
Any way you look at it.
Now E1 plays F2, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So now, who would you take? Who would you take? Germany in a Germany versus Belgium, or Germany versus Morocco? Who would you take?
Germany.
I didn't talk on this group much, but there is 0% chance that this Germany team doesn't walk through that group in my eyes, and also through that first round match. But that's just me. Even without Timo.
Okay. So let's go to Group G. We're gonna figure out this knockout thing when we get there. So who's Group G?
Give me 1 sec, scrolling. And Group G, we got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
Okay. I think we can all say Brazil is the group it went.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
there's no
if
argument there.
Dani Alves quits going studs up at practice, trying to take
Oh
out his
my
own
God.
guys.
Hey, man, Camavinga. Jesus.
Yeah, both of
Or
them.
Camavinga.
Calm down, boys.
Right? Or how about
Lord.
it
Runs up into
the
Achilles.
Portugal camp? Even
Oh.
Cancelo got a little upset there. You know,
Yo,
Yep.
we're about to
this
get
is
to
disastrous, man.
So who for the second team in G2? Any thoughts on that one?
I have the Swiss.
Switzerland.
Switzerland for 2.
No,
Okay.
That's
I take Serbia. Serbia got a pretty good team.
They do.
Serbia, didn't they beat Portugal like on the road to win their qualifying group?
Yeah,
Pretty sure they
it wasn't
did.
just one of those. It was definitely a Yugoslavian team. I don't know.
Serbia has a very good squad.
Serbia has a very. I think Serbia finished second just simply because of the fact that Brazil is. We'll get there when we get there, but Brazil is one of the favorites to win this whole thing, and I say Serbia finishes second.
So are we cool with Serbia too?
Well, I got Switzerland number
It's
2,
fine.
but I even though I have Switzerland, I'm not going to count out Serbia. Serbia could prove me wrong.
I picked the Swiss only on kind of like a feeling. Serbia definitely has the better roster if we're being completely transparent. They have more talent with Vlahovic and all all of them. I just really like the Swiss team. I like and maybe it's because I watched him torment Chelsea for 2 legs, but I really like Noah Okafor, who plays for Leipzig. So that was the only reason that I picked the Swiss, but I mean I would have 0 issues or 0 complaints picking Serbia second.
All right, let's go Serbia too.
I'm good with that.
And then we get Group H, which to me is this is the group where if you want to see what groups have the most red cards, it's this one.
For sure.
Because you got Portugal and because you got first of all any group with Luis Suarez in it.
It makes it exciting.
It makes it exciting. I picked Portugal. I picked Portugal as not because of Cristiano, but I think there's more around Cristiano than Uruguay. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I like the parts around Cristiano better than the parts around Suarez. I have Portugal and Uruguay 1 and 2.
That is what I have as well.
Who are the other 2 teams in that group?
South Korea and Ghana.
Ghana.
Yeah, I don't think if Son can stay healthy, they can make noise, but I don't. I mean, we're watching Masked Son, so this is a much like Masked Rip Hamilton of the bad boy era in Detroit. But for me, I almost want to say that Portugal don't make it out of this group just because of the drama that's going on.
A couple of guys said that on my show yesterday.
And watching that Bruno Fernandes walk in and then the look on Cristiano's face, like that was
the chemistry is not there, man.
A lot of people are just like laughing at it, but to me, it signified a much deeper issue. The good thing for Portugal though is that they have guys like Diego Jota and that can to pick up there. So I have the Portuguese team finishing second just because of chemistry issues, not because of talent. And I think that Darwin Nunez finds his form. And
Hey Zach, by the way, I
this is-
think Diogo Jota. I don't think he is. I think he's out of the World Cup. If I'm
I
correct,
think
I think
he-
a calf injury ruled
injury.
him out.
oh,
I'm
that's
not-
right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think you
So
might be right.
maybe Uruguay 1, Portugal 2.
That's just my take. But Portugal's the more talented team.
I think, yeah,
I got
roster.
Portugal and Uruguay because I think they had, just looking at the names that they have, I think they have enough to get by at least in the group stage, with Leao, Joao Felix, Bernardo Silva, Nunez,
Rafael Leao.
I
Cancelo.
think
I mean, they're
AC
just
Milan.
stacked up and down the roster. I think they have enough, even with a little bit of chemistry issues, to get past Uruguay, maybe in goal differential, because I think both teams are. I think it comes down to their matchup with Uruguay.
Portugal might have the best 3 goalkeepers in this tournament, though.
Yeah.
So Portugal 1, Uruguay 2. Are we good with that?
I'm not too certain about that. I mean, that Uruguayan defense it's so hard to score. I don't know. I think Uruguay is a dark horse of the entire tournament. I think Uruguay is capable. I don't think I say they will, but it's very capable of winning the whole damn tournament. I think they finished top of the group. I think Portugal, because of the drama, which is unnecessary. First of all, who does Bruno Fernandes think he is? Shrugging off Ronaldo like that. Who are you, bro?
He shook his hand.
Seriously. Anyways, but Portugal, just because of the talent up top, I know Ruben Diaz is great. I mean, Pepe will slice someone in half before somebody passes him. I don't know. It's just Portugal's just that team who just. I know they recently won a Euro, but they're a team who just tends to choke a lot. Son about
Uruguay 1 and Portugal 2.
I tell you
Ghana's my team. Let's make a surprise in this group.
I tell you what, I need Uruguay to actually finish second because it sets up the better story.
Then put it. Then put it. I think the majority of people.
No, I
believe in
lied.
Portugal.
Uruguay finishing first.
Uruguay, Brazil.
No, Uruguay
I love
finishing first would be actually better. Because if this is G1 versus H2, that means you get Brazil, Portugal in a round of 16. Neymar versus Ronaldo. Right.
I'm good with that.
I mean, you don't have to. I mean, that's just the way I would.
I'd say market. I'm completely comfortable with that.
Okay, so Uruguay 1, Brazil. Uruguay 1, Portugal 2. So now we got. So these are our 16 teams in the knockout. A1 Netherlands, A2 Ecuador, B1 England, B2 United States, C1 Argentina, C2 Poland, D1 France, D2 Denmark, E1 Germany, E2 Spain, F1 Croatia, F2 Belgium, G1 Brazil, G2 Switzerland,
Serbia.
H1,
Serbia.
I mean, excuse me, G2 Serbia, H1 Uruguay, H2 Portugal.
That's what it looks like.
It's A1 versus B2, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The Netherlands versus the United States.
Oh boy.
That's a tough one.
The orange machine makes it through that one. I'm sorry, but that's where I think US might not have enough.
Well,
The US
on
the US has
on
to win.
Yeah, but never say never.
No.
Honestly,
still-
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not.
It's still an exciting match, though. We do have to admit the U.S. versus the Netherlands. It's still exciting, even though we'll probably lose bad. It's still exciting.
I think the Netherlands goes through, but this Netherlands team could very well lose too. Because think about it. Look at the form of their players. The Young's barely playing. Van Dijk's not in a very good form. Memphis Depay is not playing.
Dumfries is unimpressive in Inter. This Dutch team, it's all by names. Really, honestly, it's not current form. To me, this Dutch team is not scary. The United States can very well beat this Dutch team,
but they still have Delict. They still have Gakpo. Like, there's too much talent there. That is that if the U.S. wants to win a knockout game, and I don't even feel comfortable saying this, they'd be better off playing Ecuador. And I don't think that that's a good matchup for them at all.
No,
because their defenders are too slow.
So Netherlands in this one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So now, Joe, tell me, correct me if I'm wrong. Now this becomes A2 versus B1.
Correct.
So that's Ecuador versus England.
Yes.
We know who you picked, Julio.
Ecuador is gonna, bro. I want England. I want England. Gonzalo Plata is gonna have a field day with Maguire. Gonna dance circles around him. Ecuador's counterattack, their speed is way too fast for England. I think if it's one of the bigger teams, I think England is the beatable team. And we want our revenge from 2006. I'm biased, obviously, so take it for what it is. I'm going to pick Ecuador against England. England's defenders are way too slow for Ecuadorians.
I mean, you just brought up an excellent point. So, I mean,
if that's the matchup, that match is going to be a 4-3 final. Like, there's going to be England's attack is too good to keep out of the net. So it's going to be one of those, who gets that 86th minute goal.
True, but I think I don't want to jump into this, and don't quote me for it. I think in the entire South American qualifiers, I think Ecuador finished in the top 3 for the least teams getting scored on. If there's a strong point for Ecuador, is their defense. So it's the strongest point. Yes, very strong, tough defense.
I still have England.
Anybody besides Julio pick Ecuador over England?
Diego, Sudamericano.
As much as I would love to root for fellow CONMEBOL country, I have a feeling England would take that game. I think depth at this stage, you got to think they're already going to be 3 games in. Legs are starting to get tired. And if I had to look roster to roster, I think England might have more depth in their team and have the ability to change or make any adjustments. Because take into account, there's going to be a lot of injuries in this World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling you've already seen it before leading up. I think guys are going to continue to pick up these muscle injuries. So I'm analyzing it from that point of view. And so with the depth issue, I think England goes through. But I mean,
that's close.
Gonna be a toss up.
Now I have England, but I would not be surprised if it ended up being 1-0 England at the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Ecuador literally made them fight tooth and nail till the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, England. Yeah,
I agree
with my feeling. England's probably going to win 1-0, and it's probably going to be a goal that's going to be scored within any time between the 80th and the 90th minute. I mean, but if for Ecuador, that's something to be proud of. I mean, yeah, you lost, but you made England. It took England that long to score a goal, and you only gave up 1 goal to England with that attack. That's something. Yeah, you can't go in. It won't go unnoticed.
All right, so we'll take England. So Joe, now what was C1 versus D2?
D1, D2. So that's Argentina versus Denmark.
Argentina
For sure, in my opinion.
Yes. Now we do not need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Argentina next. You said
Argentina will be challenged, no doubt. But I'm going Argentina, but Denmark
not in that match. They won't.
Oh.
Okay. So now it's D1 versus C2.
France against Poland. I have France.
Against my better judgment, give me France.
Agreed. Same thing I was thinking.
I mean, obviously, me being French American, I want France, but if Poland wins and if that ensures that Deschamps out and Zidane takes over, then fine. Then fine. I'm all for it. I mean, again, you guys know how much I want Deschamps away. I'm tired of it.
Great.
Give
I
me.
mean,
Give me-
I don't have France making it to the knockouts, so I don't. This one's gonna be. I'll take Poland.
Give me. Give
Except
me.
Diego, I can honestly state that you're probably not as much on the Zidane wanting to take over. You're not on that level as I am, but
No, but I think I think Zidane's still one of the best coaches in the world currently, and I mean he's proven it with Real Madrid, taking them to 3 Champions League champions titles, and
it's the ability to control the players. That's a huge thing.
And I think it's different being a national team coach, but I think Zidane could do it and be extremely successful at it, especially with the kind of talent that's still there on that national team. I mean, it's not like he's starting from scratch or has to renew a bunch of players. The majority of that team is in their prime in the soccer life. I would imagine that majority are right around 26, 27 years old, ready to, go for one more at least. So
He didn't.
Zidane would be a good.
He takes over the egos, the arrogance. It will be destroyed. And I said, I don't know, and Joe, I don't know if you remember if you listen to my episode from yesterday, Zidane is more than brave enough to tell that annoying French media to go F itself.
That is absolutely correct.
Man, I'm not just saying that he's my hero. I mean, I know Zidane. Believe me.
I think.
But
I think he didn't do it at all last World Cup, but I think Olivier Giroud gets a stoppage time header to win that.
Big
win
game,
that match, a close
Olivier.
one.
My God.
Can I take a moment and thank Zach, because I thought I was the only guy out there that actually appreciated it and actually admired Olivier Giroud, because I've been given a hard time. I've been bullied for defending the guy. I mean, Giroud. I mean, people say Giroud's done nothing. I mean, look at his career. Started in the second tier of French soccer, won the French Liga with Montpellier, a club that nobody would ever even think could even win the title. Goes to Arsenal and then goes with Chelsea. I mean, I don't have to go too far because Zach, I know you've heard my rants with Giroud, but Zach, I can't. I mean, I'm just like, thank you, man, thank you.
And for once, Dembele has been healthy. And with Dembele healthy, playing consistently in a rhythm, he's a big headache. He is a big headache, and
I only hope he can stay.
I really hope he doesn't get hurt in this World Cup, because I mean, with him, you don't know. He's almost too explosive for his own good. His hamstrings can't keep up with him.
So we're gonna take France in that. So now we got Joe. Is it E1 versus
E1,
F2?
E1, F2. So that's our Germany against I think Belgium. Germany, Belgium in this one. I have Germany.
Germany.
Belgium.
This is a. I'm gonna smack you. Smack you.
All right, so that means it's E2 versus F1. Spain
So
versus Croatia.
Spain, Croatia.
Give me the
I
Croats.
got Spain.
Croatia.
I got Spain.
We talked about this earlier, didn't we?
Like the checkered
I-
jerseys.
Yep. Give me Modric in the Czechs. I'm sorry, not the Czechs, the Croatians.
No, I
Croats.
listen. Croatia can want all the revenge they want. Their legs are not going to get, when Spain starts moving the ball around, their legs are not going to be able to take it. I think Spain wins how they always win, 1-0.
Well, if Spain does win, guys, we have to acknowledge Julio.
I think Spain gets knocked out next round.
Nothing with 80% of possession.
Pretty much. And one shot on goal.
Hey, it doesn't matter. That one shot counts.
So,
Right, one shot on goal.
so now we got G. Now this is where my narrative starts. Now we get to Ron's narrative. G1 versus H2.
Brazil, Portugal.
The
Oh.
Neymar versus Cristiano.
I mean, that's what FIFA wants. That's what the media wants. I mean,
I
you
kind of
can't.
want it too.
That,
I can't
that's
even lie.
Let's be honest. We
that
want
tees
it.
it up
We
for.
want it.
Yeah,
Sure,
we
who
all
doesn't?
kind of do.
Who doesn't?
I'm not gonna lie. I would love it.
Sure.
Just going back to those old Nike commercials where Figo and Ronaldinho would go at each other.
Yeah.
Except I don't want to think Ronaldo versus Neymar. I would prefer if it was Vinny Jr. versus Ronaldo.
John
Vinny
Felix.
Jr.
John Felix.
Give me Brazil either, no matter what.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just too
So-
deep.
Those Jaguar jerseys are gonna take this one.
But I do gotta ask, if
Brazil
it
2-0.
does happen, is 90 minutes enough to settle a game like this?
Yeah.
I think so.
2-0. 2-0.
Okay.
I
honestly,
really don't. I think this game's close.
I think Brazil's attacking powers will be too much.
It would be. I would pick this game to be a 4 or 5-0 game if it wasn't for Portugal's goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Really? That's
Yes.
I mean,
Whoa. That's bold.
Zach's not wrong.
All right, so now we got the last round of 16 is Switzerland versus Uruguay.
Serbia and Uruguay.
I mean Serbia. I'm sorry, Serbia, Uruguay.
I'm
Uruguay.
going
Uruguay.
Lo Celeste. La Celeste.
Uruguay.
All right,
Uruguay.
there it is.
This is a competition of who can run through a brick wall faster. Yeah. That's good.
All right, Joe. So
Rah-rah.
now what's our quarterfinals now?
We got Netherlands, I believe, against C1D2. Who do we have winning that C1D2?
Argentina.
Argentina. So Netherlands, Argentina.
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 Don't cry for me, Argentina.
A
Facts.
rematch of the 78
Re-
final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Oh, and
well,
the
rematch
semifinal,
of
2014.
14. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's never.
sorry,
It's
sorry,
ne-
Diego. I forgot. Sorry,
well,
Diego.
and rematch of 98 as well, where
Oh yeah, the
Dennis
quarterfinal.
Dennis Bergkamp with one of the all-time
fantastic
Great.
goal.
great goals you'll ever see. But yeah, give me Argentina.
Agreed.
La Albiceleste. I hope I said it right.
You did.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Joe,
Yeah,
what's the next quarter?
On the same side of that, we have was that E1? So that was Germany,
Germany.
Brazil. No, not Brazil.
Germany.
G1.
Yeah.
Who's G1?
G1 is Brazil.
Yeah, so Germany,
You
Brazil.
got Germany, Brazil.
Germany, Brazil.
Whoa.
Lord have mercy.
Rematch.
Rematch.
I need
Imagine
this
if Brazil scored 7 goals this time.
Good.
This is
Oh,
again.
Or,
I
or they
need-
lose again by 7 goals.
This is again needing the storyline. Give me Brazil because I need an Argentina Brazil semi.
I
Yes.
want that.
Yes.
I
yes.
want that. Give me Brazil. Give me La Seleção in versus Germany, and let's go semifinal.
Give me Brazil.
Give me the South American semi.
Give me the storyline.
Storyline.
It's gonna be a real shame when it doesn't happen.
It really is. I'm gonna be sitting here sad, but
Yeah,
you
and
know.
then Zach's here. Zach, you're gonna cut the heel promo on us, aren't you?
Listen, guys. Argentina beats Netherlands because Netherlands is the champion who never was, like Queen Rainey's who never was. All right. And Brazil, I can honestly say I think Brazil wins against Germany in a not easy, in a comfortable manner. I'd say a 2-0.
Yeah. I do think
2-0.
Brazil is the better team. Yeah. So all right, Joe. Now quarterfinal number 3 is who?
England and France.
England.
Oh boy.
Gross.
I really don't.
Can they
want
both lose?
gross.
I mean, I've already explained why I hope France loses, but I don't
think
have to go through
England.
it.
I will tell you, I think England is the more together team.
Here's the sad thing. Like, both of these teams have a pretty easy walk into this semifinal. I'm gonna take France against everything in my body.
Yeah.
You know what, Joe? You know what, Zach?
Because they have God.
Ugh.
You're welcome, Aaron. If you watch this, Benz is gonna roll.
The best, you know what though?
I
I think
Ballon
that's
d'Or.
the difference. The best big game player left in the tournament against maybe a very questionable pair of center backs if it's going to be Stones and Maguire.
Or White. Either way, whoever they have back there. Honestly, if they want to compete, they should put White and Stones back there. But that's a whole nother talk, and that's a whole nother.
So against my better judgment again, give me France.
It would be
I'm there,
embarrassing if Maguire made Benzema look weak.
That's
That will
But
never happen.
is that even but this is what I would ask you, Zach, and you, Joe, and everybody. Is that honestly remotely even possible?
No,
no.
not happening.
So
Because I'll go back to last year's Real Madrid Chelsea match. Look at who the center backs were for Chelsea: Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger, and Benzema won that match over two legs by himself. By himself. So you have two world-class center backs, and Benzema does it. Imagine what he's going to do against that fifth tier of the English fucking Sunday beer league center back pairing they got.
If France can internally keep it together, and if somehow in this matchup they build that momentum, you look at it and you think France should take it. We'll see how they get there, but there's that question mark, right? Can they keep it together, and will they stay healthy? And will they stay healthy? Now, in that matchup, Benzema, I take Benzema against any England center back. I'm sorry, they don't stand a chance. Benzema's he's in top form. He's incredible.
That's why
right
I
now.
can honestly ask Ronnie and Julio if it's Benzema versus Maguire. Maguire is going to be a jabroni.
Yeah.
Listen. This is where. Do you guys remember that scene? It was a perfect picture. God bless the man who took it. Of Piqué pulling on Mbappe's jersey.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I briefly used that as my Facebook cover photo and on Twitter as well.
Yeah,
that's going to be Maguire.
Well,
so Joe, who's our
Maguire is going to lose control just like that. Piqué was able to hold on briefly. Maguire is.
He's not going to get close enough to touch him.
Yeah.
So last one.
He's going to miss.
Who's the last
quarters is Croatia, Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Let me tell you this, Joe. A game like this, 90 minutes won't cut it. I think a penalty shootout would be the game. I wouldn't be surprised if a penalty shootout is what it took to decide it.
I say Uruguay wins 1-0.
This is all I'm saying.
Right.
Suarez takes it through.
All right.
I'm going to be in the minority here. I'm gonna take Croatia.
Suarez scores coming in as a sub because he doesn't even start for this team. It's gonna be Nunez and Cavani up top. Suarez comes in as a sub, scores a winning goal.
Thank you. See, we're on the same page. We're thinking alike.
So the semis now become Argentina, Brazil,
France, and Uruguay.
France, Uruguay.
A rematch of the quarterfinals from 4 years ago.
A Copa America rematch in the end.
I will take. I think Brazil is the better team, but I just sometimes, maybe it's the sports romance, the football romantic in me says this is Messi's time.
We all want to believe that. We all
And
want to believe that.
somehow, some way, Argentina gets through. Even though I think Brazil is the better team 1 through 20, 1 through 22. I think Brazil is better. But I feel like Messi somehow gets them through.
Hey, look, in the final, the Copa America final, it was a 1-0 game. Argentina got a very quick goal. And even on their goal, it was a mistake. The left back totally biffed on the coverage on DePaul's long pass and left Di Maria 1-on-1. But from there was a lot of Brazil dominance, especially early in the second half, where they were peppering Martinez, and Argentina was just holding on. They had Montiel had an excellent game, trying to somehow slow down Vinicius. So it's Argentina Brazil. It's never going to be pretty. There's going to be a lot of fouls. There's going to be a lot of trash talking, a lot of yellow cards.
Yep, a lot of falling.
So a lot of flopping, a lot of flopping, a lot of flopping. And you have two teams that know each other way too well. If they somehow Argentina gets to this point and they play Brazil, it's going to be another close one, another 1-0 game. And Messi scores in the 90th minute.
Oh, yeah,
Argentina. Just add to that.
I really believe. Yeah, I agree with Ronnie. I think we all can agree with Ronnie that 1 through 26, for the most part, Brazil has a better squad. But I would rephrase what you said about team. I feel like Argentina is a better team. The way this group has combined as of lately, I think that's what takes it. And it's other than because I wanted to. I personally want a South American team to win the World Cup because I think it's time to bring it back home, right? But this match is so difficult because you see Rafinha, Anthony, Gabi Jesus, Neymar, all these names. I think Messi puts an assist for Lautaro, and Lautaro wins it in the 58th minute maybe, and it stays 1-0. Maybe a red card somewhere along the line towards the end. Brazilians are not going to go away without crying. Gabi Jesus is going to be crying again. And Argentinians are going to be like, Brasil, decime que se siente.
Que se siente tener en casa tu papá.
All that stuff. So I think Argentina wins it 1-0.
Maradona and the hand of God better come back and be resurrected if they want to win this match. Because otherwise, if this is the matchup, I'm going to be completely transparent. I don't have either team winning this match. But if this is the matchup that we're predicting as a consensus, give me Brazil.
All right.
Joe?
I feel like the Argentina storyline for Messi is probably going to lead the way, even though my heart tells me Brazil probably is the better.
Go with your heart. Go.
So I feel like since it's his last opportunity to win a cup, that somehow Argentina is going to pull it out in a very, very close contested match.
Messi can get his coaching badges and get it as a coach because he's not going to get it as a player.
Such a hater, bro. Come on.
Not. I'm not a hater. He is
Everybody boo Zach. Everybody boo Zach.
I will never boo Zach. Ever.
So the consensus sounds like Argentina, but nobody feels that great about it.
It's gonna be a close match.
I tell you what, this Argentina team, is a team that has been put together, has been playing for the last 3 years with Scaloni and his assistant coaches, Aymar, Ayala, and Walter Samuel, all guys with plenty of international experience and playing in big clubs over the world. So this is a very serious project. They held on officially putting out their roster to the last minute, waiting on Lo Celso to see what his situation was. But they've had this list. Believe me, there was no surprises. They knew from 1 to 26 who was going, and they have each position, what their backups during the qualifiers, and even during all their friendly matches. They've tried different variations, all with a plan in mind. This is, if they're going to do it, this is the time to do it, because all the pieces have fallen together. And just before Scaloni got there, you got to think back to last World Cup. That was a disaster with San Paoli. Disastrous. Everything was falling apart internally with the players, even with the coaching staff, and they salvaged Scaloni out of that coaching staff just to fill in. And now he's beloved by everybody. So I don't know. Yeah, the storyline is all La Scaloneta. Everyone is.
So it sounds like we going Argentina in the final as one of the finalists. Yes. All right. So the second semi is
for the storyline here. Let's just set it up. Argentina, England, 86 semi repeat. Let's go. Let's bring Diego back from the dead. Let's go.
Messi scores with his hand. Messi scores with his hand.
Yeah.
So who's our second semifinal?
England and France.
France.
No, sorry, not France.
No, France and Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Oof.
Give me the pens.
No.
Give me the pens.
Uruguay.
Ballon d'Or winner.
I don't know. I think
if it's Uruguay, I actually
Zach just doesn't want any South Americans to win. I figured it out.
You got it.
Well,
you figured it out.
I have figured that out a long time ago. But
honestly, I had France being out of the tournament by this point. So the fact that France has gotten this far,
I did too.
In our consensus, I don't know. Because I had France not being gone by now.
France had him out, or Diego had him out in the group.
I've not even counted with them in the knockouts. I think the curse is going to get them. But
Joe,
so far Argentina wins. 4 years from now, Cruz is going to get to Messi as well.
I
tell you what, at this point, if this France Uruguay Cindy, I would probably take France again. I probably would.
So we have so far I have 2 French, 2 Uruguay, Diego and Alex. I need your picks.
I'm taking La Celeste. I'm going with
Uruguay.
I think they're very gritty. Defensively will make it tough, and they'll sneak by a goal, make it a 1-0 match. So
yeah. So
Uruguay, Darwin Nunez.
So that sets up the dream of our panelists, the all South American World Cup final. Argentina, Uruguay.
Give me the 1930 matchup. Rematch. We want that. Argentina wants that one back from Uruguay.
If this is the matchup, I will take Messi to finally do it.
Yeah.
I've watched the Copa 90 Super Classical documentary probably 8 times. And I just think, man, I think it's, if there's anybody, fairy tales don't always happen in sports. In fact, they rarely happen in sports. I think this, if anybody's capable of pulling out the fairy tale, it's Messi.
And at that point, if he's in the final, he's gonna will them to victory.
And I think,
he will break every ligament in his body to will that victory.
If this
I
was
say-
Messi of last year with PSG, I think I might have had them losing a little earlier, but he's in such good form right now that I think it. If
That's
this
the
was
other part.
matchup-
He's playing really well right
exactly
going
so
into the
And so is
time.
everybody
lean
else around
Argentina.
him. You know, the argument for Argentina forever was who's going to help Messi. This Argentina team, nobody's helping Messi. Now everybody is working for Messi. Messi just sits in the middle of the field. He's not even on top of the box. He's outside of the box, moving side to side. I say this will happen just because, like, if there was a final between Uruguay and a European team, I pick Uruguay because Uruguay for some reason does well against European teams. But because Argentina is their daddy, for some reason Argentina always gets the best of Uruguay. I say it's going to be an assist by Messi, and Di Maria seals it just like the Copa America final.
Now we had England losing to
You will
France.
see Diego cry on live on camera.
So we had England losing to France, right?
Yeah.
Man,
Zach, I'll go running in sub-zero weather here in Ohio with my shirt off if we win the World Cup.
if Argentina wins the World Cup, there's just going to be a random somebody has gone live in Stoppage Time Facebook group, and I'm going to know who it is, but I don't even looking at the name.
Exactly.
I'll join him.
There you go.
There you go. Let's go. Jump on the Scaloneta bandwagon.
So I just want the title to come back to South America, please. It's enough with this European farce, you know.
All right, so let's do this. Let's go around the horn real quick, and thank you guys again for joining us. A 2-hour show on a weeknight. I appreciate you all joining us. Diego, Julio, the Bear of Texas. What's your real name? Is that Alex?
Alex.
That's Alex. Yep.
That is Alex. Okay, shout out Alex.
Well, this is what I do for a living. So, and I'm blessed that and I was finally blessed to be on this show. I think it's about time.
Oh,
You
you
were on
guys
with
have
us
had
when
open
we,
invitations.
uh,
Don't do that.
We live watched what was that? We watched what was it, the Gold Cup?
Oh, yeah.
That was a blue versus blue episode of a watch along.
Oh, yep, you're right. Anyway,
So I'm gonna say two things. If we do get an Argentina Uruguay final, we must have a watch party.
Absolutely.
We must.
Oh,
We must
we can
have a
watch
watch
party. It don't matter what teams are in the final. We can have a watch party.
We might have a watch party. So now we did the consensus pick. So now forget our consensus. We're gonna go around the horn. Pick who's gonna win it.
Who's
Forget
your
our
vote?
consensus.
Who do you have
Joe.
personally? I have Argentina, so it worked out for me.
Against
Zach.
two.
Huh?
Against
I, just
two.
have to, I didn't get that far.
I have Germany.
Go figure.
Diego, we'll skip Diego. I don't even need to ask Diego.
This is all I got to say right here.
There.
Alex.
Argentina.
I struggle with Brazil and Argentina. I really do, but I have to pick Argentina.
If we could somehow have Argentina and Brazil in the final,
That would.
Oh God. God is
The
real.
thing is, I don't think Brazil's gonna drop any points in that group. I
Correct.
don't see it happening.
So this is wild because France was my pick 6 months ago. We know all the issues there. Scratch them. England will always do something Englandy in these big tournaments. Always will do something. Scratch them. Brazil, I struggle. I'm like my man Julio. I've struggled between Brazil and Argentina for the last about 2 weeks.
they always choke. That's the problem with Brazil. They always choke.
Can't say always. They have the most World Cups.
Yeah,
Well,
then.
since 2002, I mean, in the World Cup, I mean, in quarterfinals against France in 2006, and then the Netherlands 4 years later, 7-1, and then
And
2-1 to Belgium.
I mean, we could all agree that Germany Brazil 7-1 wasn't that was an accident. There's no way that happens ever again. Like,
Now,
come on.
Brazil, I know their media and they're very heavy on Neymar and his performances in the World Cup and international competitions. Yeah, he's the second leading scorer for their country, but there's a lot of question, right? And I think that's been Neymar as the guy is questionable. Here's
my
Barcelona
question.
to go to PSG to be the guy.
So here's my
Not
question.
PSG
Because no, they didn't take Firmino.
Correct.
Is Neymar playing up top or is he playing left?
He'll be
on
that Brazil team. He's gonna roam. He's gonna be a number 10, just across the whole top third of the field. He's going to be on the ball, finding the gaps in between the midfield and defense. You know,
I think from what I saw, it's Rafinha, right? Rafinha is their 9
winger,
which is weird.
And he won't play that way.
No, I think their front 3 is going to be some sort of like a Morpheus blob that kind of just rotates around, freely. They're not going to have any. We always talk about in '94 positionless, sports and positionless basketball. There's a lot of fluidity that's going on in the game of soccer now with people and not being in such a hard determined position that I think that's what you're going to see in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's truthfully, it's one of their biggest strengths.
Absolutely. So hard to defend.
I will take, with not a ton of confidence, I'll take Brazil with not a lot of confidence. With I'll bet your money on Brazil, not mine.
I have them getting the semis, and then whichever team wins that being the champion.
Well, this has been a great show. I want to thank Joe, Zach for setting it up. Our main man, Trav, Storms in the background. I'm not even going to call them guests of the show. They're welcome on the show anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Look out for the watch party for the World Cup final, because if we get some combination of Argentina, Brazil, if we get something like that, we will be right here covering this thing live. Stoppage Time Football Club is a Facebook group. Stoppage Time Football Club is the YouTube channel. Subscribe, notifications on. The beautiful game kicks off. The World Cup kicking off soon. We'll be here covering it all. Take it easy.